Hello everyone and welcome to the Toll Road Gamers. We're three friends who've been wargaming together for a long time, and today we're giving our first ever battle report video a try. We're playing Warmaster Revolution and jumping into the narrative scenario Death from Below, where the Dogs of War are trying to hold things together while the Skaven pop up in all the worst possible places. There will definitely be ambushes, questionable command rolls, and probably a few rules checks along the way, but we're here to have fun and tell a good story. Let's get into the game and see what happens. Hope you enjoy. The bells of Nuln tolled in the misty dawn, their iron voices echoing across the smoke-choked streets. The city was restless. Rumours had slithered through the taverns for weeks, whisperings of scratching claws beneath the cobblestones, of shadows moving where no man walked. Most dismissed them as drunken tales, but now the truth had clawed its way to the surface. It began with screams in the night. Whole streets vanished into silence. The lamps guttered out as if swallowed by the dark. Then came the stench, an acrid, smoking, choking miasma rising from the sewers, and finally the first wave. A tide of fur and steel, eyes glowing red in the gloom, blades thick with blood. The Skaven had come. The city's garrisons were scattered, its captains slain or lost in the chaos. The defence fell to those who had not fled, the mercenaries. Tillian pikemen with their long spears bristling like a hedgehog's spines, gunners grim-faced and cursing as they prime their black powder. Hulking ogres hired for golden blood, licking their lips at the promise of slaughter. And amongst them, two figures stood apart, a slayer with a death wish, and a poet with a sword, Gotrek and Felix, drawn by fate to yet another hopeless snag. In the shadow of the great foundries, the paymaster clutched his chest of gold like a drowning man clings to driftwood. His voice cracked as he barked orders, knowing full well that the loyalty was measured in coin, and the coin was running thin. Around him the mercenary captains tightened their grips on their sword hilts, eyes flickering nervously toward the sewers. 6 iron grates lay scattered across the plazas, silent for now, but not for long. Below in the blackness, the Grey Seer Thanquol hissed his incantations, warpstone crackling in his clawed hands. The prophecy was clear. Nuln's forges would birth engines of doom for the horned rat's glory. The surface would burn, the man-things would choke on their own smoke. The bells tolled again, louder this time, a warning or a dirge. From the depths came the sounds of the claws on stone. The first gate burst open, the swarm poured forth. Tonight, Nuln would drown in vermin. So this is our battle map, and as you can see, I've tried to recreate it with some straightforward icons. Apologies for the icons, it's not my best skill. So we're here at the top. We have our Dogs of War. This is where they will be coming in, and they already hold the treasury and effectively the magic quarter because it is in their deployment zone. The Nuln Foundry is in the middle of the battlefield, and we have the Cathedral of Sigmar over here. The Ratmen will be coming in from the bottom left corner down here, and the 4 sewer markers, which I'll go through in a little bit more detail in the next few slides, are there. Now, as I said before, we're using the Warmaster Revolution rules, but we have got some special rules which I'm going to go into more detail on the next few slides. So, as I said, we have some special rules, and the first set of special rules we have are 2 special characters, one for Skaven and one for Dogs of War. So in the Skaven side, we have Grey Seer Thanquol. He's 180 points. He gets 1 attack and command 9, just like a normal Grey Seer, but he can re-roll his failed magic spell tests, and he also has the Ring of Magic on him. On the Dogs of War side, we have limited the cavalry to 4 units, and we also have Gotrek and Felix, who is also 180 points. They get 4 attacks, plus 4 attacks, command 8. But they are immune to terror, so any unit that they join is immune to terror. They get an extra attack if they're fighting monsters, and Gotrek will always have to charge any combat that is in front of him. Also, once per game, they can reroll a failed command test, but it is at -1. Now, we also have, as I said before, some sewer markers, and the sewer markers are 1,000 points. the Skaven can hold behind and hide them, and they can bring them from turn 1 possibly in these different sewer markers. You can see from the turn points here, it is different on each turn to bring them in, easier as the game goes on. You can have up to 3 units and a character coming through on each one, but they cannot charge on the turn that they turn up. The Dogs of War also have a treasury placed in, a paymaster's chest placed in the territory. It can't move, and if the Skaven capture it, they're then at -1 command for the rest of the game. We're playing with the city rules, which we have nabbed from the Warmaster 25th anniversary tournament, which was unbelievably good. Thank you again for those people that ran that tournament. It was brilliant, because we're also stealing the kill points, which I'll go through in a minute. We've also created some random events down here, as you can see. I'm not going to go through each of them, but this is each at the end of every movement phase, a random event can happen to change the course of what is going on. So, objectives-wise, we have the Skaven's objectives. Primary objectives are to hold the treasury and the foundry on turn 5. The Dogs of War have to hold at least 2 of the 4 objectives on turn 5. If neither of those have been completed, or if it is a draw, then it goes to kill points, which again we have nabbed from the Warmaster 25th anniversary rule set. This is a narrative game, so we had a GM running the event, and he had some interesting and some surprises as we go through, but we'll go through those as they happen on each turn. The armies that we are using are 2 2,000-point armies for Skaven and for Dogs of War. Grey Seer Thanquol and Gotrek and Felix are not part of this, so I suppose really they're 2,180 points worth. But as you can see here, the Skaven are numerous in their numbers, and the Dogs of War have a little bit of everything, just to show really the different parts of the game. Now, again, using my quite frankly poor artistic skills, I have created some icons to show where the armies are, and hopefully I'm going to try and do this a bit like an old school Warhammer style battle report. Whether it works or not, you can tell me at the end in the comments. But this is our deployment area. Here are the icons for each of the Skaven and the Dogs of War armies, and this is our starting deployment. So as you can see, the Dogs of War general has chosen to not hold the Cathedral of Sigmar. He has chosen to put everything other than the Nuln Foundry in his deployment area. In the Nuln Foundry, we have Gotrek and Felix with an ogre unit and a dwarf unit and a unit of crossbows. And here, the Skaven have to come up in this corner here, so it pretty much covers all of the space. Here we have the 3 units that are being kept behind from the Skaven to come up in the sewers. So these will be popping up hopefully within the first few turns. So let battle commence. Skaven get first turn, and straight away, as you can see, they are on the offensive. The main block with Grey Seer Thanquol moving towards the treasury, the splinter group moving towards a Nuln Foundry, and a unit of the sewer vermin coming up here, made of rat ogres and clan rats, starting to move around the left flank. Now, after each of the descriptions of what happens within the turn, there will be some pictures that are taken at time. Moving on to Dogs of War turn 1, and as a trying to move the entire battle line forward, there was a little bit of a stall here in the middle, but we did manage to, in a very bold move the birdmen at the back of the Skaven army to try and slow the advance, and to possibly even pick off some of the units at the back. The Galapa guns pushed forward and fired at the clan rats and the swarms here at the front, and did a very good job of confusing the enemy along with magic. And again, these rat ogres were confused as well, so a very confusing turn for the Skaven. as you can see here, one of our random events was a fire. A little fire broke out on the side. Thankfully, none of the Skaven were hurt. Moving into turn 2, and the Skaven got some very good command rolls. They managed to turn around a couple of the units at the back and charge the Birdmen. The swarms charged into the Galloper guns, and the Doom Wheel went into the pikemen here at the side. Over on the right flank, not quite as well. A lot of it stalled, and a lot of it stayed where it was. And in Dogs of War turn 2, we have the Galloper guns, which retreated from the combat, firing on the swarms and doing significant damage. The Doom Wheel managed to destroy one of the pikemen and move into the flank of the other one after a secondary charge, and moving around. And here we have the rest of the Dogs of War army moving up towards to meet the Skaven that are advancing. In one of the random turn of events, an Empire steam tank came to the aid from the Cathedral of Sigmar to help the Dogs of War fight back in Nuln, and straight away charged into one of the Rat Ogres and doing significant damage. Here we can have a picture of another one of our random events. One of the buildings collapsed in the Wizardry Quarter, again causing no damage to nearby units. Things had already moved away, but Nuln is starting to burn. So after the first 2 turns, we started to use the kill points to keep a track of how the game was going. So as you remember, the primary objectives were those 4 areas, but we were using the kill points from the Warhammer 25th anniversary to help with the secondary objectives. And at the moment, the Skaven are well ahead with 265 points, and the Dogs of War not actually being able to get any points just yet. So in the third turn of the Skaven, we have some extra charges. The Rat Ogres charged into the side of the Dwarves and the Crossbows, and the Doom Wheel went into the Ogres as well. The Doom Wheel over here was continuing to fight, and the Swarm went straight into the rest of the Galloper guns, kind of wiping each other out. We also had another random event, and a unit of Nuln cannons that were firing out have turned back in to help again the Dogs of War. And starting to, in the next turn, fire on the Skaven. We also have another unit of our Skaven turning up from a secret sewer portal, which was placed by the Skaven general. So again, we have 3 gutter runners here heading towards the treasury. At the end of the Skaven turn 3, the score is 320 to 35, and the Dogs of War take their turn. The cannons open fire and do some significant damage on the Skaven next to them, pushing the Rat Ogres over to the right. The crossbows charge the swarms in the middle, and they effectively start wiping each other out, and a lot of the wizards were moved over here to try and hit the flank of the gutter runners. Unfortunately, the magic quarter, clearly taking some damage from the destroyed buildings, hamper the wizards from the Dogs of War to move any of their units to attack the rear. But over here, the knights have charged in, and Gotrek and Felix have started to show their worth and have started to take out the right hand side of the Skaven. And at the end of that Dogs of War turn, the Skaven points are 375, but the Dogs of War have clawed it back quite a bit to 225. Now, in the 4th turn of the Skaven round, a Vermin Lord had managed to be summoned by Grey Seer Thanquol. He has moved over from the left flank into the middle, and the Vermin Lord has charged in. Now, the Vermin Lord is using the stats for a giant from the Orcs and Goblin army is exactly the same as a giant, including the blunder rules, and the Vermin Lord blundered straight away, but thankfully got a charge into the knights from its blunder table. Again, this excited Gotrek and Felix, who charged straight into the combat as well, the chance of killing a monster. The treasury started to become under attack from the Gutter Runners and from the Doom Wheel at the back, and our final unit of reserves came on for the Skaven, again coming from the sewer in the top right corner, trying to flank the knights, which are trying to flank the Gutter Runners. So the chaos in Nuln is in full swing. As you can see, the Dogs of War have completely and utterly abandoned the Cathedral of Sigmar. It has been left to its own devices. You can see here a lot of heavy casualties from the Vermin Lord and from the Knights, and again over here the treasury is pretty much all but lost to the Dogs of War. Things are starting to look bleak for the Dogs of War, as Skaven get to 595 points and Dogs of War are still on 260. But in their turn they managed to do some amazing command rolls, and we have our Knights flanking the Gutter Runners as planned here, but we also have Crossbows flanking the other set of Gutter Runners. We have a unit of Knights moving over and charging the flank of a Doom Wheel to try and take the treasury back at all costs. Also a steam tank. The steam tank comes in to aid the Knights, the few units of Knights and the Gotrek and Felix against the might of the Vermin Lord, and managed to do significant damage. As you can see, the Vermin Lord falls to the wounds from Gotrek's axe, and Gotrek and Felix manage to unbelievably save 4 of their 5 wounds from the Knights. The Knights survive, and so does Gotrek and Felix. And the Dogs of War manage to take back the treasure. We move into turn 5 for the Skaven, and there are no points for this particular round because we got too excited and forgot to record them, so we're not 100% sure what the points were at this particular point. But as you can see, it was getting very climactic. So the Plague Monks came and attacked from the Magic Quarter and back into trying to retake the Nuln Foundry after Gotrek and Felix and the Knights took it back from the Vermin Lord. Also, Grey Seer Thanquol and his units around here moved into the Nuln Foundry. It was quite a short turn, and to be fair, at that point the Skaven thought it was lost, but we had one more turn left for the Dogs of War, and this was quite a dramatic turn. So, after completely securing the treasury, they attacked the foundry with the steam tank going into some swarms, rat swarms, and Gotrek and Felix were attacking the plague monks with Grey Seer Thanquol. So it was all set up to be a final climatic battle for the foundry. By happen chance, the steam tank bounced off 2 units of swarms in the side, and consequently got swarmed itself and was destroyed by the swarms, which was very unfortunate for the Empire. However, Gotrek and Felix fared significantly better against Grey Seer Thanquol and managed to destroy the unit Grey Seer Thanquol was in, Grey Seer Thanquol having to fall back into the sewers and out of the city of Nuln for the rest of the game. However, holding the line, Gotrek and Felix still didn't have enough units in the area to claim the victory, as there were too many one-stand units for them. And as a final score, the Skaven won. Both armies had one objective each. The Skaven held the foundry, the Dogs of War held the treasury, but Skaven had more points. They had 770 compared to 465 for the Dogs of War. So, going over the 4 objectives, we have the Shrine of Sigmar, which was untouched by anybody in the entire game. We have the Wizards Foundry, which was fought over quite a bit throughout the game, was held just mildly at the end by Skaven. However, it was not one of their objectives. The treasury was well and truly held by the Dogs of War, and finally the Foundry in the middle was a close fought thing, the Skaven just pipping it with a couple of extra units, getting their kill point total higher than the Dogs of War. I hope you've enjoyed this battle report. If you have any feedback, positive or constructive, that would be greatly appreciated, as this is, again, as I said, our first endeavour for it. Hopefully we will be able to do another one. Thanks again.